Hello and welcome to another edition of the Desert Mountain Podcast. My name is Kim Atkinson. I am joined today on the HOA side of things with two gentlemen, Mr. Jim Duffey, who is our chairman of safety and security for the HOA committee, as well as Troy Gillenwater, who is a Desperado and has a lot to share with what the Desperados have been up to. So, gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Desert Mountain community, for listening in.
Absolutely. So today, you all had asked, let's spend a little bit of time talking about safety on the mountain. I think it was a little over a year ago that we kicked off the Firewise initiative to introduce that concept to the residents of Desert Mountain. And so we would like to hear a little bit more about that because it's been in progress, and I'm sure there's been a lot of great updates since then. And so why don't we just go ahead and start there, Jim?
It sounds good. It has been exactly a year since we kicked this off, and I'm happy to report we are at a community level of 50% complete, which kicks in our fire department to start doing inspections for the entire community. We are waiting on some feedback to see how we're doing, if we need to turn right, turn left, what improvements can be made on the mountain. Currently, the inspections are taking place at 7 Renegade Trail, Lost Star, Apache Cottages, Haciendas, Sonoran Cottages, Sonoran Enclave, and Desert Fairways. So as soon as we get some feedback from the chief, we're going to send that back out, and that should help the rest of the community. Again, our goal is to reach 100%. Firewise is a program that is being recognized throughout the country. As many of you know, California is having major issues getting insurance for wildfire areas, and Desert Mountain is trying to get ahead of that by creating a community that is proactive, that insurance companies will recognize and continue to provide valuable insurance. So, as a brief reminder of the program itself, what we would like is a clearing of your property 3 to 5 feet on your property line. And it's cleared so firefighters can move about, they can move with their equipment, and so on. It also entails raising the canopies of your trees up to 5 feet. Again, that helps so that fire does not reach that level, and that's the hope. It will help to extinguish those fires quicker and will not allow jumping of each. If you're in a wash, your home is next to a wash, we ask that you contact the fire department because removing any plants could cause erosion. So they can inspect it. They can give you the best go-ahead there. And I think as we go through this, I'll probably have a little bit more on Firewise.
Yeah, so it's like
it's
like a checklist of items that, in order to get this certification that we want to achieve, each community, each village within Desert Mountain, you've set up a schedule.
Absolutely.
And because we know we can't do it, we can't boil the ocean all at once, right? No. We're a big place.
Yes.
So village by village, we're making great progress. What do you think our timeline is to wrap this up?
Well, it took a year to get to 50%. So my common sense says it's going to take another year. However, the fire department chief said he expects us to be in compliance by the end of the year. So he believes this will accelerate once inspections take place. Again, share it with your neighbors. If you have questions, contact the HOA. We'll help with anything you may need. We'll even walk your property for you.
That's what I was wondering, is if somebody wanted, you're saying 3 to 5 feet. Is it 3 feet? Is it, if there's something in the way, you're not sure of that plant, what are the resources available?
That's exactly right. That is the issue. Some people have trees in that space that you don't necessarily want to remove. So again, we'll take a walk with you. Mm-hmm. The fire chief, he comes out here on a regular basis, Captain Hunter, and he'll view it for you and give you the best advice.
Very nice. We have wonderful partnerships with our police and fire in
extremely.
The Desert Mountain area.
Very lucky.
Yes. So I wanted to mention too, we are hosting the Battle of the Badges in September again. So we'll be on the lookout for honoring our local first responders and check out that great event. We welcome them and thank them for all the great work they do for us.
Absolutely.
Troy Gillenwater, how's the market doing right now? Everything is looking great on the real estate side, but today we're talking about outdoors and recreation with the Desperados.
Well, it's when I talk about the Desperados, it's hard to do so in a way without smiling, because really what we are is just one big family. And our common denominator is we just share a passion for the outdoors. And if you love the outdoors and you choose Desert Mountain to live, it doesn't get any better than that. I mean, every day I wonder, what am I going to do? Am I going to go hiking on the trail system, or am I going to meet my best friends and go mountain biking, or am I going to take a road ride down to Bartlett Lake? There's just so many things to do here. Desert Mountain, I call it's the greatest Arizona base camp you can have.
This is why I keep having you on as a spokesperson for our club, because you know exactly what to say, and it's so authentic, it's absolutely true.
It's just been a great experience. And I have to say, the Desperados formed back in really right at club turnover, back in the end of 2011, 2012. And I crossed paths with this fellow I had never met before, Bob Borsch, who at the time was the president of the HOA, and passed by the idea of building these trails. And it took him about 13 seconds to say, yes, let's do it. And I mean, when you look back at that and look at what's been accomplished in 10 years is a long time, but we have 25 miles of trails up there, plus all kinds of different amenities, from the Ramada shade structures to the Kiva lecture circle to the Butte Peak Summit Register, bathrooms. It goes on and on.
It does. It's such a great spot up there. So tell us a little bit, what is happening with regard to riding bikes? Is it do you see you guys out on the trails? Do you see them on the roads? What's the activity lately?
So the activity is there's a lot more biking today than there was just even 5 years ago. Part of that is the popularity of e-bikes, but what's happened, frankly, is Desert Mountain has become a very safe place to cycle, which and I applaud Desert Mountain, the HOA, for those efforts. We're all neighbors here. We're all friends. And so it's rare anymore that I get the one-fingered greeting or someone slams on the horn. Fortunately, as far as Desert Mountain Parkway goes, it's 2 lanes in either direction. And so there's plenty of room for everybody.
Agree. Yeah.
And so cycling, in my opinion, today is much, much, much safer than it was, say, 5 years ago.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I also say awareness is a big part of that, and the community talking to each other, because we often consider cyclists as an individual, somebody who's just riding without concern for the drivers and vehicles and so on and so forth. I think we've taken them into consideration over the last few years with training, bringing in experts, so that everybody understands each other's mindset as well, because I do believe it is a safe place, and the goal of any safety program is to have everybody feel safe. So that's the goal here. As a HOA board member, we want to reach out to the Desperados and all the cyclists, everybody who's enjoying the mountain, and make it as safe as possible. So again, commend the Desperados for the work that's been done and ongoing.
It's funny, Jim. When I ride on Desert Mountain Parkway, it's really easy for me to tell who cycles and who doesn't when they're driving by, because the cyclist will pull over to the left lane and give the full lane.
True.
And I see that happening more and more. Yeah. And so really what I've been doing, what the Desperados do is, when we begin each ride, if there are new people around, we kind of go over some of the rules of the road, which are so simple. Basically behave as if you're an automobile, obey traffic laws, stop at stop signs, things like that. Be predictable, right? And if everybody would do that, it's already happening. Like I said, I feel safer on the roads than ever before.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. We also, the HOA went out with Troy, and we drove the route that they use for their coffee trip every Tuesday morning. and it was an eye-opening experience. They leave from the Sonoran, they head out Desert Hills, and then they're off on their trip. One of the places they do not feel safe is that trip from Sonoran off campus through Desert Hills. So I'm happy to report we worked with Bill Foltz and the security team at Desert Mountain, and they are now going to provide escort to get you off every Tuesday morning. I think that's a great partnership that the officers will enjoy as well.
Well, what I was hoping is maybe you could put a Tour de France sign, and we can be like celebrities and ride underneath it.
Yes.
You guys are taking care of us, and we appreciate it.
Well, it's a Peloton, isn't it?
Yeah,
right.
right. Well, it truly is.
Yeah.
In winter season, we can get 20 people on those rides, and they're getting more and more popular every year. And while I have the opportunity, let me, if I could, just talk about the 3 different rides that we have.
Absolutely.
So the Desperados as a show and go, meaning there's no formal organizational structure. You just, if you want to ride, you show up, and you can bet they're going to be fellow Desert Mountain members and residents who are going to be there. Well, so Monday we have the Bartlett Lake ride. All our rides depart from Sonoran, and the departing times vary with the season. Right now they depart at 7 a.m. And when we say the ride goes out at 7, I mean, we watch the clock like hawks, and at 7 a.m., those pedals are cranking, and we ride as a group out Desert Hills Drive. And you're right, that is the most challenging place right now in Desert Mountain because it's simply one lane either direction. And so things can get tight. And, we don't mean to obstruct motorists on their way. We really don't. But that section from Desert Hills Drive from the Sonoran Club to Cave Creek Road is tight. Mm-hmm. But once we go out there, then we turn north on Cave Creek Road, and we do the road ride down to Bartlett, and we call it a no-drop ride. And what that means is we never leave anybody behind. It's usually me in the back. But and then on Tuesdays, we have the most popular ride, which is the coffee house ride. And that's a blast. It's really easy going down to Cave Creek to the coffee houses. We go there, we share, we have coffee, a pastry, and it's kind of funny how it's evolved through the years. Each morning, someone just volunteers to pick up the tab. And the challenge is, every morning, too many people want to pick up the tab. This is a very generous and kind-hearted group.
Great community.
Yes, but then we got to pedal back. But we've cobbled together a wonderful route that avoids most of Cave Creek Road, so it's very safe. On Thursdays, we have a mountain bike ride that goes out. We can get from the Sonoran Club to Brown's Ranch in the McDowell-Sonoran Preserve in 12 minutes. And I'm here to tell you, from a guy that has cycled a lot of places all around the world, there are not any better trails than those in the McDowell-Sonoran Preserve. Mountain biking is like snow skiing on groomed slopes. It's just remarkable. And that ride has gotten very popular in the last few years as well. And again, it's a no-drop ride. So even if you don't have a lot of experience, we're just out there to have fun. No one's racing. It's not competitive. You should come and join us.
Yeah, I certainly will. And it shows. You can tell how much you enjoy this, and the Desperados enjoy it as well. One thing I did want to mention, we do have some, one of the safety rules we do have is that you have a light, headlight, and a rear light. A white light up front, a red light in the rear. And again, that's just for safety so the drivers can see you, other cyclists, and so on. So really, that's what we're asking, and we're asking for drivers and cyclists alike to remember that it's your neighbor you're passing. So again, thank you, and thanks for all the programs you have. That's a great effort.
So much fun. And I think we have some spots on the calendar where you can find those on the member website. They're listed. And so if you're looking for what days and times, again, if you need to be reminded, just go to the club calendar on the mobile app or the member website, and you can check that out.
Right. We just talked about biking. There's a whole
exactly.
other list of
Let's
hiking.
keep going.
Moonlight hikes. I mean, seriously, I can't do them all.
I'm exhausted just listening to you.
The Moonlight Hike is a blast, and it's very well attended. I mean, we can get 20 to 30 people in season on that. And we've, through years of trial and error, through getting lost, stumbling around in the dark, we have found this way where we leave the trailhead and we reach the sunset summit right as the sun's going down over the western horizon.
Gorgeous.
And then we hike on up as the moon's coming up. This is all timed. The moon's already up, the full moon. Very technically, it's a day or two before the full moon, but you wouldn't know the difference.
That's all right.
And we hike up to the top of China Wall, and there's a wonderful peninsula out there where you stand there, and to your back is 3 million acres of undeveloped Tonto National Forest, and before you, looking south, is 5 million people living in the city of Phoenix, and you actually feel sorry for them because they can't be out in your own private wilderness reserve right in your backyard.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
That is an absolute wonderful description. I'm sure so many people are going to want to take advantage of this, and it's there for them all year round, not just in the busy time of the year, but during the summer.
All year round. I mean, we had a coffee house ride last Tuesday. I think there were 8 or 9 people. Mm-hmm. I was on the one the week before that. There were 12. I went hiking yesterday with the group. There was 10. So even in the what we call the hot summer season, there's still a lot of activity.
So speaking of the trails and the system, new signage is being posted.
Oh, I'm so happy about that. And thanks to the HOA. Mm-hmm. For funding that effort. And yes, we're completely revamping each and every single sign up on the trail system. Basically what we're doing is we're removing a lot of visual clutter. So there were instances at intersections where there would be 3 different signs. That's going to go away, and all the signage will be contained, all the information will be contained on one post. And what we did with that is we just decided that we have mimicked the signage used in the McDowell-Sonoran Preserve. And maybe they wouldn't want me to say this, but we've elevated it a notch. That's the Desert Mountain way.
Sure.
It's elevated a notch. But it's going to operate just as McDowell-Sonoran's has for the past, 25, 30 years. It's kind of a funny thing. The McDowell-Sonoran Preserve is 10 times the size of our trail system. Our trail system sits on about 3,000 acres. The McDowell-Sonoran Preserve is about 32,000 acres. And they've been very, very helpful to us. So, kudos to the Desert Mountain HOA to making that switch. It's going to be nice.
Well, again, I thank the Desperados, did most of the legwork for that. The club as well supported this. So it's a community effort that benefits club members and residents alike. So.
Wonderful. And when is our timeline for the installation for the signage?
I believe we're looking at, because September 30th and beyond.
Okay.
Right near there.
Great.
Sounds like a simple process, but it is a complicated
Oh, no, I feel like I've
task.
been in this conversation for a little while. So I'm glad that you all are moving forward with it. And it sounds like it just needed a great team and a lot of activity to make it happen. So congratulations on that. I know our members and residents will appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you.
What else on the safety side of things should we be aware of?
Well, I would like to give some attaboys and attagirls and shout outs, whatever we want to call them.
Some awards.
To some of our officers.
Very nice.
So we have a great team on the security side of the house, well over 30 individuals who on a daily basis support our community. Just to name a few, and the most recent Service Excellence Awards, Officer Brooklyn Walker, Officers Ortegan and Bridges, Captain Modzalewski, apologize for that if I said it wrong, as well as Lieutenant Reyes. So they have all received a tremendous amount of words of encouragement, accommodations. Brooklyn Walker helped a resident follow an accident, managed the scene, made our resident feel comfortable, helped exchange information, and again, received very kind words concerning that incident. We also, as you know, one of the jobs of our security officers is removing snakes.
Yes.
Who would have thought?
Yes.
But they are called upon often. On one such incident, the owner was very concerned for their dog. The dog was in the area. Again, our officers managed the situation, removed the snake. Dog didn't get bitten. So, again, another happy customer. We also, I call this the Superman Award. We had 2 officers arrive, a vehicle high-pointed. It was sort of stuck on a spot just off the road where a rear tire was not hitting the ground. Our 2 officers simply lifted the car up and made sure that other tire reached the ground.
This is a $6 million man story.
Yes, it is.
My
Yes,
goodness.
That's Superman, $6 million.
I love it.
It's all good. We also had Lieutenant Reyes was presented a life-saving measure award by the Arizona Private Security Professionals Association. In a very difficult, stressful environment, it was deemed that he saved a life, and that's not somebody coming by, and that is as observed and viewed by the law enforcement and fire department on scene. And that's not the first time it's happened on the mountain. So I just wanted to give a little credit to the entire team, just highlighting some. We could go on and on about this, but an outstanding group of professionals that support us every day.
Very reassuring, I'm sure, for our residents and members to know that and to hear those stories, because you don't often get the opportunity to have a microphone and tell and give kudos like that. So I'm glad that they were recognized and you were able to share that with them.
Thank you.
Yes, very, very good. All right. There was some traveling happening. I have to ask this question because I know you went on a really nice trip up in Flagstaff. Teresa and the Outdoor Adventures team are wrapping up this amazing trip in Spain. I have some breaking news on this that I need to tell you about, but I want to hear about your experience. We're building out a little travel page on the member website because we have all of these great trips that keep being developed by our amazing teammates, that we need a place to put them so people can learn about them. So tell us about your Grand Canyon adventure.
Well, sure. First of all, Jake and his team with the outdoor recreation have done a job that it exceeded my expectations. And when we built that trail system, we knew it was going to be popular. And we knew at some point Desert Mountain, the club, would step in and start programming trips. But in our wildest imagination, we didn't realize the kind of job they would do. So my hat's off to Jake and his team. What they did is they have been very successful in combining outdoor recreation with education and just singular experiences that you're not going to get anywhere else. Mm-hmm. By that I mean, in the fall, they invited a geologist, Wayne Ranney. That man knows the Grand Canyon probably better than any human being on earth. And he came to Desert Mountain and spoke about the geology of the Grand Canyon, which, it's like having the Sistine Chapel in our backyard. I mean, it's one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. And then shortly thereafter, the outdoor recreation team announced a trip led by Wayne Ranney, where we bussed from here up to the Museum of Northern Arizona, took a tour of the museum, all the different departments, stayed the night, and then got up in the morning and went with Wayne narrating all the geography of the landscape that we were passing. I'm a guy that's lived here my entire life. I learned a ton that I never knew before. And it was just an experience that most people will never get. And to walk the rim of the Grand Canyon with Wayne, I mean, I described it, it's like being able to play basketball with Michael Jordan. I mean, this is the guy.
That's awesome. I feel like we could have an outdoor podcast with Troy Gillenwater pretty much every day. Like, this is so fun.
Well, it's sold. The trip booked up so quickly that Desert Mountain scrambled and opened up another slot, and it sold out in a matter of hours.
We recall those promotional meetings with the team, and they were, first time. You don't know what the demand is going to be, so we were brainstorming with them, and I think it was one and done. It was like we just had to push like maybe one email out, and that was it.
Right. Well, you know what? I've been around long enough to realize both of those trips, I attended both.
Yeah.
went off without a hitch.
Yeah.
And they were as smooth and effortless. And I realize what that means. What that means is there's somebody behind the scenes working really, really hard. And that's Jake and his outdoor team.
That's so true. And so the experiences are growing on the mountain. The creativity is absolutely flowing and necessitating a lot of communication and discussion around things like Firewise safety and bike safety and all of these things. So we're so glad that we're able to have these conversations, because it's all about the experience and enjoying them to the fullest and enjoying them safely on the mountain. So is there anything else that we would like to discuss or share with our members and our residents?
Well, it is fire season,
Yes.
so pay attention to signage that's posted. Remember, Desert Mountain has a zero tolerance smoking policy that will remain until end of season. So again, be safe, be smart, and pay attention to the signage.
Absolutely. Troy's just here to have fun. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you again, gentlemen, so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Members, thank you for listening, and we hope you have a wonderful summer.
Thank you.
Thank you.